What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And today, guys, we are back. Wow. It's like the first time, it was twice in 1 year that I made a fucking video. Crazy. Crazy. We have twice in a year that I've gone back to back. Hasn't been like this since God knows, I don't even know. No, today, guys, I promised this in the previous video, which, by the way, I'm going to say this before anything happens, before I say anything. If you have yet to watch the last video that I dropped, I do recommend it because it gives you a bit of a backstory on what I'm going to talk about. And if you don't want to, I guess whatever, like, I'm joking as this, but fuck you. It'd be cool to have a view, you know what I mean? But realistically, like, it doesn't really matter. If you don't have to, you know, you can continue watching this and you'll figure it out. But in the previous video, I talked about what I've been working on in the past 6 years. So you can take this as, like, the reason why I don't upload. But I don't. It's just that I just don't want to upload. I don't really like making videos, and I don't have the internet to stream, so. But in a way that I've been making this in the background while doing YouTube for the past 6 years. So I decided to let everyone know that I am releasing my first book, which is unbelievable still to me that I'm actually going to be able to get this to happen and be able to share this story with everybody. Because, like I said, I think in that video, like, this shit means something. It fucking means something to me. Like, this is something I've worked on for years. It's been an idea for so long, and now that I finally get it to happen. Which to me is still, it still means something, so. But for this video, I promised in the previous video that I was going to make a video talking about what the book is, what's it about, the characters, the antagonist, the story, the genre. And so I tried my best in the previous video to kind of not hint at what it is. So in this video, that's pretty much all it's going to be about. And so if you guys enjoy, drop a like, subscribe. Yeah. So when I was creating this book, or the idea of this book, I don't think I talked about it, but I don't know if I talked about it in the previous video, but the idea came from me and one of my friends, my good friend Logan, and pretty much we had needed something to kind of get some time away, because we had so much free time in middle school, so when we came up with this idea, it was to kind of get rid of that. So we thought about creating this book where we both work on it and stuff, and eventually I think it just ended up being me, because of the fact that he just used my computer, and we were there come up with things, but I mostly wrote it. But that's why, like, when I think of this book, like, I think, like, yeah, I'm the one who wrote the story. I came up with the story, but if it wasn't for him, I would never came up with the characters and the idea. I just had to adapt the idea. So, and a little backstory. This idea, and I might, who knows, I might release a video on this, has changed throughout the entire years of the book. But the one that I'm releasing, I've been working on for the past 6 years, since my freshman year of high school, which, like, is a crazy thing to think about, saying that 60 years ago, but it has been. But the story is a horror, supernatural, fantasy type story. It's like a dark fantasy, action, romance story. Now, before people are like, okay, how do you get all that to work? That's the way I think about it, is that anything that has action is an action story, but that doesn't mean action adventure. That pretty much coincides, like, you're pretty much saying this is pretty much only an action movie. or a book, and that it requires and revolves around action. But if it has action, I put it there because of the fact that if you like action, you do get a good amount of action in this. But I also put in the romance because there is a relationship in there, and we talk about relationships and stuff in the book. And with it being a big relationship, I wanted to kind of get that side so the girls can have something. If they were to read this, they have something to be like, oh, I really like this character. I really like this dynamic. And then, of course, the fantasy, the dark fantasy, but it's just the entire story. But it takes place in 2019, so when I was writing it, that's how I thought about it. And so I kind of like, oh, it's going to be modern time, but now it's like 6 years out. But I tried to line it up with my high school year because the characters in this book are me, my brother, and a lot of my friends. Now, I kept some people's names true. I'm going to list them, not going to use the last names, but I will list the names, the first names, of the people that I kept the names the same, that know they're in the book. Okay? Me, my brother Brody, you guys know Airflex, come on. My friend Logan, his brother Mason, my friend Haley, and my friend Michaela. They know they're in the book, plus those are real characters. Now, there are some other people in the book that are real that I had to base them off, so their names are different. I kept their first names, but I changed their last names. So it's not them, but it's them. That way I just don't get any issues with people like, yo, you used me in your book, and without me knowing, like, I use your likeness. That's the difference. But they know that they're in the book, and they've done it. Well, Michaela and Logan have been in the book since day one, back in like when I came up with the idea, and when I decided to bring this book back my freshman year, Logan knew, and he was kind of like an editor on the book alongside me, and Michaela knew as well. I told her, and she was all for it and stuff, and and the book follows us, a group of friends. You know, we're a group of friends, being realistic, because everybody in that book has all been friends. We've all been friends. Some of us being friends at different times, or we were friends then, just not with the group, so we just added them to the group to make this group big and large. But the fact that this considers and goes down into the horror elements, there is kills, there is murder in this book. And I will say there was one thing that was different throughout the first version of the book. It was supposed to be a horror, but I didn't do any killings because I was in 6th grade, and I was afraid what the teachers were going to do to my laptop. So I didn't do anything like that. But a group of friends. My friend James, I forgot to say him. He's also in the book, and he knows he's in the book. There we go. And so we pretty much are a group of friends hanging out. School is around the corner. It's about a few weeks away. And so we're pretty much getting some time in to hang out before school ends. And we do a truth or dare game. You know, it's a cliche horror thing to kind of get the story going, to come and look for this cabin that is supposedly cursed. Now, we get introduced due to James in the book being this person who kind of likes to look up rumors and myths. And since it was close to us, he wanted to go check it out and dared me to go find it, which causes us to go find it. We go in and cause a thing that pretty much we open up Pandora's box. Okay. And I created this character, the antagonist, Grim. Back when we first came up with the book, the name, we just called it Grim. I don't remember why we called it Grim. I don't really know why we called it Grim, because back then he wasn't a Grim Reaper. He was a ghost that was haunting us. and pretty much he dressed up like Ghostface in my book because I was so original. Um, he was nothing close to being a Grim Reaper or anything. And then going through, maybe he had a scythe back then. Um, yeah, like it's horrible. That first version's so bad. But um, when this happened, we kind of decided to make him a bit different, and so when I decided to rewrite this book, I wanted to make Grim, which that's his name, because I just like might as well just name him Grim. Um, we decided to make Grim a bit more powerful first of all because he's the antagonist, and at first it started out as a horror book. I didn't decide to make it supernatural until my junior year. Like he had supernatural abilities, like kind of like superpowered abilities, I should say. But at the same time, I wasn't trying to make him a supernatural creature or being. I just cared about making him seem just a bit powerful. But I didn't decide to make him a supernatural being until my junior year or senior year, and that was because of the fact that of the other books I had come up with in my head. Um, I decided that that was going to be best, just to make him a supernatural being so it doesn't feel like I'm just swaying away and start out like that. But with this, we don't really know a lot about him, but I I wanted to make him feel like the ultimate villain. When I look at, watch movies and stuff, and I look at how villains are made, I want him to be considered a top tier villain, right? Due to abilities, due to how like much aura this guy has. Like I'm being serious when I say that. Like this guy is clearly trying to clip farm aura without having to try to clip farm aura. He's just trying to be a fucking menace because that's who he is. There's when I was coming up with the scenes in the book, I was like literally trying to make it seem like how can this seem like this is aura farming with it being in a book, and how can people imagine that? Um, but he carries around a scythe, of course, being his weapon. But I made him like, I try to make him as top tier, unkillable as possible. Um, with that being like, he has teleportation power, so he can form into a mist and then teleport places. I thought that was going to be a cool factor. And then later on, I decided to make him invulnerable. Like you can't hit him, kill him with bullets or swords of anything, because of the fact that when I was writing in the first place, I remember saying I was shooting him, and like I never said if he was getting hit or anything. And the next time I wrote that he was getting shot, it was bouncing off of him. So I'm like, I might as well just making him invulnerable, and make it be like, yo, what the fuck? He's not taking any damage. You know what I mean? And there's people when I was writing this book, I wanted us to fight back and find a way. So I had to figure out weapons. And there were people in the book that did have guns, and it would just make them feel a bit more useless. But at the exact same time, it would just make him feel like a lot more better. In a way, I feel like humanize the characters that like no matter what, they're useless. They were defenseless. Like yeah. And he's got super strength, pretty much. He can literally chuck you and throw you with power. You know what I mean? He can lift you with effortlessly and then throw you as hard or as far as possible effortlessly. Like, he doesn't take any effort for him at all. Okay? But pretty much after we release him, he starts to go on a mayhem. Starts going, hunting us down, and we're forced to go into hiding, running away from our families. And at first it was just to hide out, but then we wanted to find a way to kind of protect ourselves, because if he did come at us, we would have some, some sort of ability to learn how to defend ourselves and protect ourselves. But then him being around divided the group and stuff, and there was like sides you have to choose, which side do you want to be on. And I want that for the reader. Like, who do you believe is on the right? Do you believe it's this person, or do you believe it's this person? And in the book, I'm dating this girl, Michaela. Now, the thing is, as I was writing this, I was taking my 6th grade friends, and pretty much 6th grade, and putting it in freshman year. So we were technically dating in real life in 6th grade. If you've been a subscriber for this channel for so long and you saw that first video, that video was about her, by the way. But no, and it causes tension between the two of us. It causes tension between a lot of people. Causes divisions between the group and stuff. And I wanted people to feel like they could choose sides. But I wanted people to also believe in that love story that we have in the book, and people like they deserve better, or they're meant to be, or he deserves better, or she deserves better type stuff. But I knew that when I was writing this book, I didn't want to do too much because I wanted to set up more books. So when I was rewriting this book, I decided to make sure I didn't go all in with a lot of details, and it'd still be like stuff they have to figure out. Like, they think they know everything, but they realize there's so much left that they don't even know. You know, and that you figure that out throughout each version of the book until the end. But even then, I came up with other books ideas after like Grimm's done. The Grimm character, with adding new villains and stuff, new things, because I wanted to be a series where I can even go on for an unlimited amount, which that won't happen. I have a visual idea of how many books I might do. We pretty much have to find a way to kill Grimm, and we find that's when we find out Grimm's like unkillable and stuff, and you know, but we found out there was a way to kill Grimm, because Grimm is, before he was Grimm, he was a human being beforehand, and when he died, became the Grim Reaper, and he's pretty much, in the book, I do say that he is pretty much a bounty hunter. That's how I view Grimm, as a bounty hunter for misbehaved teens, but eventually that's just gonna be honestly retconned for just he's the bounty hunter for doomed souls, or just souls in general. And pretty much whenever it's your time, he comes around. But we fucked up by fucking around in his area that was meant dear to him, and we've been doomed. Like, we've been cursed by him that he's not gonna stop fucking around with us, because he needs our souls. Our souls need to be taken away because of the stuff that's around it, shit like that. And we found out that there was a way to kill him, because we have to use the weapon he had killed himself with as a human. You know what I mean? I just spoiled that. I don't like that I spoiled that, but we found a way to kill him, and pretty much that's the book leading to the second book, I will say. I did a little spoil. I do not like that, but here we are. We're 18 minutes in, and I do not want to restart because I forgot most of the stuff I already said. Because I don't write this shit. I do it off the top of my head because this stuff I've been talking about for so long that I know about, but putting it in a confined video, I'm just gonna forget it. And so I'll like be rambling on, you know. But it, like, when I was writing it, it's a horror book, you know, and then it became a horror supernatural book, and then I wanted to really write and make sure the tension and the emotion felt real. And so I talked about in the previous video of a playlist that I was using, and I was using because the fact that anything that was emotional that was on kind of got me in that mood to be on my fucking A game, if anything. And it made me, I felt like a better writer in those moments. If there was a powerful scene that I knew that I was going to be writing, like if I knew that I was planning for a big fight scene between Michaela and Donovan, I wanted to feel like everything that's been leading up to this moment, I want that to be coming out, and that they were biting their tongues or something. Or if it was like Mason and Brody going at each other, like I wanted to feel like there's been shit that's been boiled up between those two that's been releasing. And so I would have either an emotional song for like the relationship between Don and Michaela, or a very serious and like broken friendship type song for the broken friendships that could happen. Like, and so it would get me in that mood for a serious tone and an emotional tone that would make me be like, I know what I'm gonna say, and it's coming off my head so good that if I don't can put it down now, I could forget about it. And so the songs and this music helped me, you know. And I talked about it, I think, in the previous video of like the ideas I have for this book, which is like movies and fucking TV. I feel like if this book was to get big enough and attraction became really good and people loved it, that maybe someone's like, yo, there's this book out, it'd be such a great movie to make. Like, those are probably some music tastes that I would want. And I've talked about it before, but like, this was become a movie or TV show, I would want to be part of that movie or TV show somehow. Like, I know I'm the main character in the book alongside the others. That's another thing I'll say. I'm not the only main character. People might view it that way, because this book is told through a first-person point of view. So it's like it's through my POV, but I see everyone that I listed as a main character. Like, it's not just my story; it's their story. It's just in my POV because someone has to tell the story. And since I was writing it, I hated. I would hate if it was not me. I'm not trying to be selfish or shit. It's just the fact that, you know, I was writing it. I know anyone else probably would do the same. But I realized down the line when I was writing in my first person point of view, I hated not being able to get other people's thoughts or their own POV, because of the fact that I like that being like you can go back and forth to different people, because then it's just like you have to figure out a lot of shit. You had to figure out a lot of shit for the other people if it was to become a movie or a TV show, which I probably wouldn't. It probably wouldn't be that hard for me because I could probably come up with some ideas. But I see everyone as the main character, but I wouldn't want to play myself in a movie or TV. I got no acting experience, even though it would be cool. Like, I would want someone to kind of resemble how I'm like in real life, because that's how I resemble myself in the book. And like, I'm not gonna give it like, oh, I'm Jack. Like, I'm not Jack, clearly, but like, kind of give it like make it real to the character. So I try to do real life personalities, real life appearances and looks, and so that's what I wanted. I would rather be part of the movie or TV show as either an executive producer or part of the writer's room. And kind of, I feel like an executive producer would still be part of the writer's room. So I can make sure that the story is like, you're not trying to fuck the story around and make like, okay, this person actually dies when they don't die, or this person gets with this person. Like, that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, this person can't end up with this person because they end up with this person later on. Or they can end up with this person because this person dies and they end up with someone else. You know what I mean? And then this fucks up this character arc and stuff. Yeah. But I make sure when I was writing this too, I talked about it, I think in the previous video or not, that every book has, even though everyone's the main character, at least everyone has a character arc. And at least one book focuses on a character. And so this one definitely has one. The second one the one I'm working on right now, is gonna have one, and I know who that is. The third one, fourth one, I know who those ones are. It's the ones after the fact that I don't know. But it's pretty much like I would say this character development's pretty easy. Like, you're trying to like, okay, they gotta be totally different from how they are in the beginning. Okay, so you just gotta go opposite, pretty much. But it's a lot more different now. But that's the most simple thing you could think of and to say if you would. But no, like, this book it's like I said, it's a horror book with supernatural capabilities, based in real life in my hometown, Bangor, Maine. Which is one thing, like, as a reader, I don't read a lot of books, but this is a book that I would read because of the fact that I'm trying to make sure I go at people who aren't that good of a reader or don't like reading because of the fact that you might get bored. I feel like this book gets you going. It could start out slow, but as soon as it goes, it's going. Like you're there every single day. Like what the fuck happens? What the fuck happens? Like I try to make sure at the end of every chapter, I try to focus on leaving cliffhangers or like making it something unexpected. You know what I mean? To get people like if they're gonna like, oh, I'm gonna stop at the end of this chapter, they would either A, want to keep reading or it's on their mind the entire time. Okay? And so I made sure that even if you're not a great reader or you're not a big reader, that you would be able to read this book and not have an issue reading it. Right? Like I've had to read a lot of this when I was writing it, just to make sure like some of the things did feel like I wasn't either I didn't missay something or I didn't fuck up and say something totally different from what was supposed to be said, or I just forget one thing. So, and I had no problem and I enjoyed it. And and I made sure that I left people off with a big cliffhanger at the end of this book, so people can get excited and ask more about book 2 and stuff. And so, and I feel like book 2, you get you do get your your answer, answered, like your question answered, I would say, in the beginning of the book to make sure. And I always make sure to leave what happens in the end of the book with the epilogue is answered in the prologue. You don't have to wait. You get your answer, but you have to see other people wait to get their answer and find out. And so you know what happened, but they don't, and you gotta see how they're doing and stuff. And so, and I enjoyed that. Right now, I'm working on. I'm gonna say this: book 1 is a great story, but book 2 is so much better. Like book 1 does not compare to the story that book 2 has. Like when you read this and you're done with it and you think that's good, you've seen nothing yet, pretty much. Book 2 is so much better story wise because I tried to make this one a lot more better when it comes to the emotion, the tension, and how raw and real it is. Because the fact that this is something that I've been working on. This book 2 I've been working on since my junior year of high school. So not as long as my freshman one, but still long. It's been like 4 years writing this. Right? And so this one I've been working on. I finished it my senior year, and I enjoyed the fucking story. I really did. And I thought there's no way this is gonna go. This was like my longest one that I ran at that point, and it still was up until I rewrote book 1, and it's so much better. So I believe people will love book 2 way more, story wise, emotion wise. So like I said, I try to make it more as real as possible of what happens in the first book. When people have to deal with a lot of things. And yeah, but I'm gonna leave it there for you all, so you guys all can get your own little ideas or stuff brewing. So to recap, okay, to let everyone know, this book is a horror supernatural fantasy book. Takes place in Bangor, Maine in 2019. The characters are real life characters of real life friends of mine put in this book. It includes me and a lot of my other friends, some that I named. I'm not gonna name again because I do want people to realize they're gonna technically, if you think about it, if this book goes big, they will get famous, but that means they also got no privacy. I didn't think about that one. But they're hiding and fighting for their lives against the Grim Reaper himself, Grim, who is an all-powerful supernatural being, who Orvarms, he's a fucking menace. dude's a literal menace. Okay? And pretty much we're having to learn how to survive and adapt on our own. And who lives and who dies, that's for you guys all to figure out when you guys read it. So, book comes out October 16th, 2025, only on Amazon right now. And so, go pre-order right now. You can get the Kindle version right now if you pre-order it. The paperback and hardcover one should be able to be pre-ordered soon. I will let you guys know in like community or something, or check my Instagram. No, I actually probably wouldn't post on my Instagram, but yeah, I'll let everyone know when it's ready for pre-order. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like, subscribe, go, and I will let you guys. The link will be down below for the pre-order, and the link down below for the Spotify playlist will be also down there as well, so you guys can hear what I was listening to for the past few years. Some of them are new songs that I just put in, just because of the fact that I did need some new songs for the happier bits, because I didn't listen to a lot of happy songs. So, but hope you guys did enjoy. Drop a like I said, subscribe. Check my Instagram and Snapchat, and Donnie McKenzie with an extra E, no spaces, no periods, all together, no capitals. Actually, I don't think it would matter if you have a capital in there. People just say that. But peace.